Hey, what is up YouTube? It's Terrence and I'm back with another video. This is between the tutorial series, so it's not a part of the Fusion series. It's just a map animation that I made for a real estate video. I shared it on Reddit and a few of you guys seem to like it, so I'm going to be making a tutorial showing you how you can achieve this effect. So I'm going to be making this one even a bit more elaborate because I'm going to be using some drone footage that I shot. I use Google Earth to get the map images, and here I am in Jamaica, so you got to find the location that you want to zoom out from first off. You also want to go to View, Layers, and you want to set it to Clean. If it's on like Exploration, everything is going to show roads and labels to places and stuff like that. So you want to set it on Satellite so we get the actual imagery and set it to Clean. And then you just got to center the place on the map that you want. If you have drone footage, ensure it lines up roughly with the drone footage, and then you can start zooming out and grabbing a screenshot, zooming out and grabbing a screenshot. I've got a 4K screen, so I grab just a few. If you have a lower resolution screen, you may need more screenshots to keep the quality. But then again, it all depends on how fast the video is moving, because there's going to be motion blur, so some things might not matter as much. And this is my drone shot right here. What I did was I made in and out points on the bigger shot right here. Then I dragged it back to the media pool, gave it a name, and I unchecked use full clip extents. Now you've got our drone shot. So let's go over to effect, favorites. I'm going to add a fusion composition. Let's make this 5 seconds long. Why not? I think 5 seconds is fine. Let's hop into the fusion composition. And the very first thing I'm going to do is drag in the drone footage. This is descending in the shot, so I need to be going up. So I'm going to add a time stretcher node. Here on frame 119, I'm going to set a keyframe of 0. Set it to nearest. I'm going to go back. And on frame 0, I'm going to set it to 119. So now this makes it so it's zooming out. And I use this little patch as a reference point. It's a little T-shaped patch in the road. So if you look at the screenshots that I have, I think I'm just going to be using these four right here. I'll need to be zooming into the outer space. So if you look at these right here, you can see the little T patch on the road in each of them. That's what I'm going to be using as a reference. This is zoomed out very far, so you're not going to be seeing anything at this point. You're going to have to find another reference. So let's start making things 3D. First, we're going to add an image plane, plug this in, and I'm going to make the plane one subdivision. Let's look at it in 3D space. I'm going to rotate the plane on the x-axis, rotation x, so negative 90 degrees like this. Let's turn off the media pool. We don't need that anymore. You're going to see my screen flicker when I zoom. The mouse wheel is acting up. You will notice that the map shots are way darker and doesn't have the same color as the drone shot. But we can worry about that in the future. So copy this. Let's make a 3D camera, a 3D merge. I'm going to do Shift M to get that 3D merge. That's if you have a Nuke to Fusion installed. And now I'm going to plug this in the 3D merge. I'm going to let's copy this, Control V. I'm going to plug this in the 3D merge. And now the reason why I'm copying is because I want to keep the rotation and the subdivisions. But that might actually give me one other issue. Let me try to use the pivot pick. Yeah, okay. So let's just reset it. And I'm going to pick with the pivot first. So I'm going to pick that little spot right here. That's a reference point. And let me copy, paste, transform. Let's look at it. And I am picking the same spot with the pivot here. Paste, transform, and we can see the same spot right here. So again, pivot, just clicking, dragging, and picking the little patch that's on the road. By this point, there's nothing much that we can really use as a reference. All right, here we go. So this thing right here, this cross, it stands out in both of these images. So here in the 3D view, I am gonna transform, pivot, click and drag, and pick this as my spot. So now I just need to rotate all of these to negative 90, and let's connect them first to the 3D view. You can see them all If we go to set merge 3D, we can see them all here. Just got to rotate all of these to -90. So rotate X -90. Let's just copy this value and paste it here, paste it here, and paste it here. All right. So everything has been rotated, and this shot needs to be at the top. So we're gonna click this. We're gonna drag it upwards. The rest we can drag these further down for the time being, like that. You can even turn them off because we're not going to be using them just yet. I'm going to set the camera view to top. Click our node here at the drone shot. Go to material, set the opacity down to like 50%. You can grab this and we can line this up. So here's our patch. Line the patch. It's got to zoom out and do a rotation. We're going to rotate on the y-axis and kind of match the streets and stuff. Then we just gotta scale it up until everything kind of matches. So I'm looking at the roads, the roof and stuff like that of the different houses. It's not going to be perfect. Just want something that's kind of close. So just gotta scale it until it looks decent. Then you can come here, and I usually just play with the opacity, and you can see how well it matches up. And actually, I don't think we even need this first shot, to be honest, because it's pretty much the same height as the drone shot. So you know what? Let's just get rid of this entirely and start working with this one. Yeah, that happens sometimes. All right, so our patch is right here. Okay, so let's rotate this to match the roads. We scale it up. Try and match the roads here. Okay, the road is matched. Rotate this. I'm looking at the other patches on the road as well to use those as reference points. Okay, now select this and mess around with the scale, and I think that is fine. I'm okay with that. Yeah, I think that's fine. So let's set this to 100%. This is at 100%. Now we can select these, Control P, turn them back on. And if we have a look at our 3D view, we have everything laid out nicely. So now the next step is to ensure that everything that is layered, right? So we don't have anything clipping through. Let's turn the camera back on. Also going to rotate the camera -90 degrees on the x-axis. Grab a render 3D so we can see what the camera is seeing. Let's look at 3D in viewer 1 and at the render 3D in viewer 2. I'm gonna grab the camera and move it up. Oh wait, gotta select the camera, not the entire. Ensure you're not moving around your merge and you're moving the camera. So let's move the camera out, and things might start clipping and getting weird, right? So over here, I'm gonna go to 3D options, turn off the grid. And here we know we got this on top. This is 0 on the y-axis. Let's make that 0, for example. That's this one. Let's make this -0.05. Let's make this one -0.08. And let's make this one -0.1. Yeah, so like -0.10 essentially. And now we know we got them layered, right? You can try moving the camera up and down and see if you get any weird clipping. If there's no clipping, then you're fine. Start out, we're gonna have the original animation play to say frame 48, 2 seconds, right? So we're gonna have the camera, let's move it on Z, and then we're gonna keyframe the Y, and over the next few seconds up to maybe 90, we're gonna zoom all the way out to here to ensure we aren't seeing the edges of the thing, right? So maybe like right here. Then if we should frame this in the splines view, Control A, select everything, Control F to frame it. We can zoom out a little bit, and then we can go to frame 115 and move this up just a little more. So like this, we can select the keyframes, hit S, and it smooths everything out. We're looking at the drone is going up, and then it goes to the camera view and it zooms out. If you're not able to watch this back in real time, because it does get a bit heavy, you can actually hold the Alt key and drag the 3D render to one of the viewers, turn off high quality, turn off motion blur, set it to like a third the size, a quarter the size, and hit start render. And it should do like a RAM preview that you'd see in something like After Effects. And if you want to do this faster the second time around, hold the Shift key, hold Alt, and drag it in. And it's not going to show you the dialogue that you get the first time. It's just going to jump straight to rendering. Once that is done, right click, hit loop, and then hit play. There we go. That works fine. But then we still have a few issues. Let's turn off proxy, turn high quality back on. Let's select our drone footage. We're going to hit F in the 3D view to frame it. And now we've got a few issues here. Let's delete this. The drone footage, it is very warm, and the stuff from Google, it's a bit cooler. Also, we have the sharp edges that we need to get rid of. I'm going to grab a rectangle mask and click it right here. So you get a mask. And then I'm going to increase the width and the height to ensure they scale together. I'm going to hit expression, just grab the plus and plug it into the width, and then I'm going to increase the width, and they now increase together. So I'm going to bring this down a little bit. I'm going to use the soft edge. Just going to start showing the map under the animation. So I'm going to go to this frame, and I am going to bring the camera down even closer. That way we aren't seeing any of the map until we start moving, because we don't want to have like a part that has motion and then a part that doesn't have any motion. We got our feather, kind of fixes some of the edges, and then I'm going to actually copy this and paste it for the next one, and we can see the difference that it makes. I really need to change this mouse. You can see sharp edges, softer edge. Then for the last one, we don't need anything because there's nothing behind it that we need to smooth. So let's go back down here, and we need to start matching this up. Let's add a color corrector. And one thing that you need to do is turn on pre-divide post-multiply. If you don't, it's going to be adding the corrections to the alpha. So for example, if I should use the lift, if I should turn this on, then it takes the alpha into consideration, basically, instead of just adding the brightness to the entire thing. So let's turn that back down. We need to kind of start matching things right here. Okay, I think I kind of matched these a bit. I think that is fine. One more thing that you can do is on these maps, you'll see stuff like the 2025 Google. I'd say if you're working on something heavy, you should remove these in Photoshop, Affinity Photo, or any other application that allows you to paint things out. But you can actually do this in Fusion. You can set this to clone. You can increase the softness to like 1.8. Past 1.8 gets a bit weird. And you want to set this to the stroke right here. If it's on the multi-stroke, it's going to disappear every frame. You can increase the size with Control. You can hold the Alt key to sample somewhere, and then you can simply, let's have a look at the paint node. You can simply paint to cover these areas. I prefer the paint tools in Photoshop, but sometimes if I got something quick and dirty that I want to paint out, I'll use it here in Fusion. But it gets heavy. What you're going to want to do here is come to the Render 3D. I'm going to go to Settings, and we're going to turn on Motion Blur. You can also set this to Hardware Render, so I can see what the motion blur actually looks like. When it starts moving, you really can't tell the difference. And the step, it's at 2 right now, and 2, that shows a lot of stepping. So I'm going to increase this to like 6. That should make the motion blur look very smooth. There we go. I might even add a color correct right here. pre-divide, post-multiply. So on one end, the drone is kind of matching the maps, and the maps is kind of matching the drone, kind of having a happy medium. And do it on the midtones, so strength and the tint. Okay, let's look at our drone footage. And I think that is fine. It starts zooming out, and then we are out to the skies. Now, the other thing that I did was I added the clouds. I use smoke, actually. So I got this smoke clip that came from storyblocks.com. This is not a sponsor for Storyblocks. This is just where I got it. And what I did is I added a luma keyer, turn on the alpha, and I'm just going to do that. Maybe do that. Then it's kind of blue. You can see it has some blue tones in it. You can see that the blue values are a bit high. It's like 7 on the blue, 6 on the green, 5 on the red. So it's more blue than anything else. I'm just going to add a color corrector and pre-divide, post-multiply. And then I'm going to copy the 3D plane and add it here. Let's kind of separate things so I can organize it. I'm going to add an underlay here. I'm going to rename it, call it map. This is drone, and then the clouds. Let's add like 3 clouds, right? So let's do it like this. I'm gonna take this and plug it in here. There we go. And I'm gonna add another merge right here. You will see why in a moment. Let's put the render in viewer 2 and 3D view in viewer 1. After frame 48, where it starts moving out, maybe like right here, I can have my first cloud. So let's grab a cloud here. Hit F in the 3D view so I can see the cloud. It needs to be in front of the camera right here. What's this? Okay, Fusion is doing some weird stuff. It's showing something above the clouds that I know is not in the footage. I think Fusion is just going crazy. Increase the size. I'm gonna copy this, paste. I'm gonna plug it into this merge, and we're gonna plug this into it. This is weird. That's all I'm saying. Let's exit Fusion for a sec and re-enter again. See if that fixes the issue. Okay, there we go. Now we're not seeing any weird double images. I don't know why that was happening. Grab the second cloud. Let's move this one up higher. Move it over to this side. And we're gonna increase the scale. Let's do 10 on this one. Move it out like this. You can see it has like this black edge to it. I'm going to increase the low on the luma keyer to get rid of that dark edge. If you want to see how it looks like over a white background, you can maybe grab something white and merge it over that white background and have a look at the merge. You can see exactly what it looks like. So before it was like this with like a dark edge. And now that dark edge is gone. I can blur it some more, and I can increase the high, and I think that's fine. Let's merge this over it, and then we can start maybe desaturating it. That's fine. And then maybe shifting it to the yellows a little bit to kind of match what we got going on before. So before it was blue, now it's more desaturated and yellow. Got like a bit more saturation, and I think that is good. Let's look back at our merge. So we got it passing that cloud, and you might want to start rotating things on the y-axis just a little bit to have some variation. Organize things a little bit, and I'm gonna do underlay, call this clouds. So we got our clouds, we got our drone shot, and we got the map. See, when this goes all the way out, we might even need to add another cloud. Just paste this here, plug this in, plug this in. There's just not a lot of clouds in the sky, so let's increase the size, rotate it on Y. Okay, and I'm gonna take the opacity for this one down to the 50. If you want to add the text in, it's simply you add the image plane. I like turning the subdivisions down, and you can plug it into the merge. If you want to make it a 3D text, you add the 3D text. You can get shadows, all that cool stuff. If you want to see this in real time on the edit page, what you can do is write things out. So I got a saver node right here, and I'm going to go to browse. Just going to name the file 0 and make it, let's do JPEG. JPEG is kind of bad for video, but let's run with it. Quality, let's turn that up to 100. We are going to do Fusion, render all savers, and it's going to write this file out. All right, our render is finished. Took a whole 2 minutes, 24 seconds. Just want to say this, I would recommend using EXRs if you're working on VFX related stuff, but in this case, I think JPEG is fine for the tutorial. I'm gonna hit R so I can get a read node. I'm gonna select this map animation, hit open, and we should have our animation, and it plays back extremely smooth. Now let's plug that into the media out, and let's get back on the edit page. And now no need to wait for crazy render times on the media page. What I want to do is head over to color actually, and let's have a look at this shot right here. What I'm going to do is give it some saturation. And then once our thing starts going up, I want to have this go to a cooler video, right? Because this is pretty orange. I don't like that. So right here where it starts going through the first cloud, I'm gonna go to corrector 1. Gonna add a keyframe right here, and I'm just gonna keyframe the temperature. Got a temperature at 0. By here, I'm gonna shift that temperature over a little bit. This is not a color grading tutorial by any chance. And I think that is fine. Or is that too blue? I don't know. You guys be the judge. Let me know in the comments. But yeah, now you can add your sound effects. The real estate video had some sound effects and stuff in it. That's the end of today's video. We got a cool drone shot that we then transitioned to some images of Google Maps and zoomed all the way out from Earth. You could actually zoom all the way from Earth and go into space if you want to, but you might need, for that, I would actually include Blender because I like using Blender for most of the heavy 3D stuff. You could render out the Earth, and then you can do like some zoom animation and pair this with that, and then you can get a zoom from Earth all the way into space. Or you can do like that ending shot from the original Men in Black, where it's zooming through the universe, Earth to space, zooms through the universe, and then ends on something weird. Thanks for watching the video. I hope you guys like the channel. I hope you subscribe. Check out the Fusion motion graphics series that I'm working on. I finished episode 1 and episode 2, which is a 2-part episode. And I'm going to be working on episode 3 as soon as possible. I'll be dropping community updates on the channel, and I'll make a post on Reddit whenever the tutorial is ready. So see you guys in the next video.